They say blood carries memory, but what if it also carries belief? For centuries, people have taken DNA tests and found something unusual written in their results: Jewish ancestry. Not Christian, not Muslim, not Buddhist, only Jewish. And that's strange, isn't it? Because religion isn't something you inherit through genes, it's something you choose. So how can a faith, a belief system, appear in our biological code? The answer, as scientists discovered, is both historical and astonishing. The story of Jewish DNA is not just the story of a religion, but the genetic fingerprint of a people who carried their identity across 3,000 years of exile, migration, and survival. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to the Diary of the Past, where we uncover the hidden genetic stories that shaped human civilization. Because in this channel, every drop of blood tells a story, and this one may be the most enduring of all. To understand the genetics of the Jewish people, we must travel back to the sun-baked valleys and rugged hills of the ancient Middle East, where the story of the Israelites first began. Around 3,000 years ago, long before modern borders or flags, small tribes roamed the lands between the Tigris and the Mediterranean. Among them were a group who would come to be known as the Israelites. Their story, preserved in scripture and archaeology alike, begins with one man, Abraham, who, according to legend, left Mesopotamia and journeyed to Canaan, a land that would become the spiritual heart of Judaism. But in these early days, the Israelites weren't biologically different from their neighbors. They spoke Semitic languages, shared customs with the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, the Arameans. Their uniqueness wasn't written in their DNA, it was written in their beliefs. A single revolutionary idea set them apart: monotheism, the belief in one God. And from that idea, a civilization grew. As centuries passed, the Israelites formed a kingdom, with Jerusalem at its center, a sacred city rising from stone and dust. But unity did not last. The kingdom split in two: Israel in the north, Judah in the south. And it was from that southern kingdom, Judah, that the word Jew would eventually be born. When the Babylonians conquered Jerusalem in 586 BCE, the people of Judah were exiled, their temple burned, their land taken, their identity tested. But instead of vanishing into history like so many others, they carried their traditions into foreign lands, preserving them with astonishing resilience. That exile, the Babylonian captivity, was not only a turning point in faith and culture, but the beginning of what would become one of the most studied genetic lineages in human history. When scientists began tracing the genetic threads of modern Jewish populations, their data pointed to something extraordinary: a continuity stretching back thousands of years to the very same lands once walked by the ancient Israelites. In the language of genetics, that continuity lives through haplogroups, clusters of DNA markers passed down generation after generation. Among Jewish men, one lineage stood out: J1 and J2, ancient paternal signatures found across the Middle East, shared by peoples of the Levant, from Canaanites to Phoenicians. It's as if fragments of that early world survived inside their blood, carrying the echo of a homeland long scattered by empire. On the maternal side, scientists found mitochondrial DNA patterns common in ancient Mediterranean and Near Eastern women. Haplogroups H, K, and N1b, genetic whispers that still live within modern Jewish families. When the Persian Empire later allowed the exiles to return to Jerusalem, something remarkable happened. Jewish leaders determined to preserve their identity encouraged their people to marry within the community. It wasn't racism or arrogance, it was survival. a way to protect their fragile identity from dissolving into the vast empires around them. This centuries-long tradition of endogamy, marrying within the group, became a defining force, shaping not just culture and belief, but the very code of their DNA. Then came the Greeks and the Romans, and once again, history would scatter the Jewish people far beyond the land of Judah. After the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, tens of thousands of Jews were forced from their homeland, spreading into North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. The diaspora, a word meaning scattering, became not just a historical event, but a genetic one. For centuries afterward, Jewish bloodlines journeyed through time and geography, changing, adapting, yet somehow staying connected.
As the centuries turned, the scattered threads of the Jewish people began to weave into distinct patterns, three great branches that would carry the same ancestral spark into different corners of the world. Each lived under different skies, spoke new tongues, and walked among foreign empires, yet within their DNA, the biological memory of who they were, the connection to the ancient Levant endured. The Mizrahi Jews, the Eastern communities, remained closest to their origins. From Babylon to Persia, from Yemen to Iraq, they lived continuously in the Middle East and North Africa, their genes echoing the same markers as the ancient Israelites. When scientists examined their DNA, they found a clear through line, a genetic bridge stretching from ancient Canaan to modern-day Baghdad and Sana'a. Yemenite Jews, isolated in the Arabian Peninsula for nearly 2 millennia, carry some of the purest Middle Eastern ancestry known to science, a living genetic time capsule of the early Jewish world. Then came the Sephardic Jews, born of the Mediterranean sun, in Spain, Portugal, and across North Africa. For centuries, they thrived under Islamic and Christian rule, trading, studying, building great cities of knowledge, all while preserving their faith through centuries of cultural fusion. Genetically, they carry a strong Middle Eastern core, but with threads of Berber, North African, and Mediterranean ancestry woven through it. Their DNA became a reflection of their geography, a living record of connection, adaptation, and survival. And then there were the Ashkenazi Jews, the most intensely studied of all. They emerged in medieval Europe, in the river valleys of France and Germany, before spreading into the heartlands of Eastern Europe. Their story is one of resilience and genetic evolution under pressure. Small in number, surrounded by hostility, they became a population shaped by bottlenecks and founder effects, when only a few families carry forward the genes of an entire community. Their Y chromosome lineages tie them directly to ancient Middle East, but their maternal DNA, the inheritance of mothers, revealed something unexpected. Many Ashkenazi maternal lines trace back not to the Middle East, but to Europe itself, descended from women who joined the Jewish faith through conversion centuries ago. It's a quiet but powerful reminder that identity is both inherited and chosen, that belief can shape biology as much as biology can shape belief. From the deserts of Arabia to the villages of Poland, these three great branches, Mizrahi, Sephardic, and Ashkenazi, carried forward the same ancient flame. Different lands, different faces, one ancestral heartbeat. Today, the story of Jewish DNA is more than science. It is a bridge between past and present. From ancient Israel to modern-day communities across the globe, the same genetic threads that shaped early Israelites, Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and Mizrahi Jews still flow through countless families. Even when empires fell, borders shifted, and languages changed, the genetic legacy endured. It is a living record of survival, adaptation, and resilience. Each genome tells a story of migration, of trials overcome, of communities holding tightly to identity against the currents of history. Smaller and lesser-known groups like Beta Israeli in Ethiopia, Bene Israeli in India, and Kaifeng Jews in China remind us that Jewish heritage is global, yet rooted deeply in tradition. Though they adapted to local cultures, their DNA carries whispers of a shared ancestry, a link across continents, centuries, and civilizations. The significance of Jewish genetics is profound. It reveals how culture, belief, and community shape biology. It shows that identity is not a simple label, but a tapestry woven from centuries of experience, migration, and perseverance. And as science continues to advance, more hidden stories will emerge. Ancient DNA, modern sequencing, and genealogical studies will keep revealing connections once thought lost. Every test, every discovery adds another chapter to a narrative spanning millennia. So the next time your ancestry test shows Jewish heritage, remember, it is not merely a label. It is the echo of thousands of years of history, resilience, and identity carried quietly in your DNA, waiting to be understood. If you are fascinated by the secrets hidden in our genes, if you want to explore how history, culture, and biology intertwine, then join us here at the Diary of the Past. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and journey with us as we uncover the hidden chapters of human history, one genome, one story, one truth at a time. Because the past isn't gone, it's alive in your blood.